you find out about Tyler and not having him available to you tonight?
17 seconds before I was going to speak to the team.
Wow. Is there any background you can help us there as to how it came about?
No, I have no more information. I'm not allowed to say anything else. But look, we've been dealing with this for 5 weeks. Everybody has this twisted about this team, saying that that there's a lack of whatever, whatever the narrative, stupid narrative that's out there. We have incredible mental toughness and stability in that locker room and as a staff. Because we've been dealing with it. We're not making any excuses for it. This has been going on for 5 weeks, and the guys have been able to stay focused and just on the task at hand. It wasn't a beautiful game by any means, certainly from a standpoint of taking care of the ball, particularly in the fourth quarter. But we found a way to grind it out and get the win.
I know you might point to some other things, but I think this is something you might point to also, that defensive third quarter when you held them to 10 points. I know you might not have won it there, but that seemed to be incredibly important to turn the game. Can you sort of address what your team did defensively in the third quarter when really it seemed like you took charge defensively?
Yeah, the important note of that was, this is what we've been trying to establish and to be able to do it consistently, whether shots are going in or not. In the first half, our shots weren't going in, and it felt and appeared that was affecting our commitment on the defensive end. In the third quarter, we just were much more committed, regardless of the result on the offensive end. And I just think that creates the tenor of the game. Then the shots start to fall. You feel a little bit less pressure with your offensive possessions, and start to knock down some shots, knock down some threes, and gain some energy from that. And that carried over, to be able to have enough space in the fourth quarter.
Two of the things you tell us more than anything are we have enough and next man up. And then there's Max Strus and what he did tonight, which did you honestly, Eric, when you saw how decimated you were in the backcourt and you had to go with Max after Duncan got those 2 early fouls, where was sort of your confidence level there? And what was it like watching him go to work in this game? Thank you.
Well, one, it's great to see, a young player who's put in a great deal of work. Everybody knows how we are, so it's not as if he's having days off. If anything, it's harder when you're not playing in games. There was one day I literally joked with him and the staff. He had 4, if not 5, legitimately hard workouts during the course of a game day. It was before shoot around, the shoot around, after shoot around, before the game, and then after the game. And each one was, a considerable amount of work and intensity. And that's a credit to his commitment. But again, this is not just about, games where, we won. We've developed confidence with him. He's played this year. He had a great game against the Clippers. Nobody remembers it. Nobody cares, because we weren't able to hold on to that 15-point lead, 20-point lead. But he played extremely well in that game. And in other moments when, his number's been called. But it was great to see the locker room happy for him and enjoying his success tonight.
All right, up next we have Anthony Chang.
Okay, so speaking of that third quarter, I think Jimmy played the entire period. He had the 6 points, but also 6 rebounds, 5 assists. How much did his energy kind of get things going for you guys in that quarter?
He understood, how important it was for us to create some space. Defensively, we were able to get some consecutive stops. And then he made sure the ball was getting to where it needed to go on the other end. And Bam picked up his 4th foul, so he just it was understood. It was unspoken. He just knew he was going to have to go the whole quarter. Created the double-digit lead, and that's what was necessary. But he's been flirting with a triple-double the last 4 or 5 games.
And with Bam, they threw a lot of smaller defenders on him. How do you feel he responded to that coverage and maybe finding other ways to make an impact with his?
Yeah, it's not about that coverage. It's more about our execution detail, doing things with energy and purpose. Everything in the fourth quarter was in the mud, and it didn't necessarily need to be. But we'll, watch the film and work on that, and make sure we're better with that. He'll look better if he's on the move. All of it, everybody working together to generate the looks that we want.
Next, we have Tim Reynolds.
Eric, to use your phrase, this is 3 in a row that you guys have had to win in the mud. I guess what kind of a good sign is that anybody can win one close game. When you got to win 3 in 5 days this way, what's that kind of say again about the progress that you've been speaking of for a while?
Yeah, I've seen some great development of mental toughness and grit. Unfortunately, some of our best games have been losses on the road, but that develops this grit. It doesn't happen overnight, and sometimes it can be extremely frustrating and disappointing when you have tough losses. But we've had some moments of great growth, on the road. The Toronto, Philly, Brooklyn, road trips. I think are steps to prepare you, to find some confidence. And that's what we showed at least through three quarters tonight. And then we just had to find any kind of way to win it at the end, even if it's really ugly and not efficient, certainly offensively.
Next, we have Cooper Moorhead.
So Max was just on with Jackson post-game show, and he was commenting on how important it is for him to hear Jimmy every time he steps on the floor saying, shoot the ball, shoot the ball, shoot the ball. So what does it say, not just about the player development program, but about the veterans you have on this team, that you have guys constantly who come off, end of the bench, out of the rotation. They come out not just ready to play, but ready to play their game and be confident in their game. Yeah,
you see it a lot in this league, it's tough if you're a young player. And then if you're an undrafted and two-way player, you're not really sure where your place is. But when you have, a highly decorated all-star telling you, shoot the ball, play your game, be you, I'm going to get you the ball. It's a lot easier, to do what you've trained to do for so many hours behind the scenes so no one's watching. It's a lot tougher to do when you get those side glances from veteran players that are beating you down. And that's part of Jimmy's greatness. He elevates guys and makes them feel comfortable, and he can raise their level of play to another level.
Next, we have Alex Toledo.
Hey, Coach. I wanted to ask, so Houston brought out, particularly in the second half, they started to switch smaller guys onto Bam, and not even switch them. They were kind of putting him on Bam from the start of the possession. How do you feel about that kind of defensive tactic that's shown up over the years to kind of defend the handoff, knowing that, teams know that you want to go to that? Do you think that's a mismatch for Bam in itself? Do you think that, when the help comes, that it's good for you guys because it opens up a shooter? How do you feel about teams doing that?
Well, I think it's something that we've gotten a lot better with. There's a lot more game planning against our movement and shooting. But in terms of doing it with purpose and pace and detail, that was not our finest example of that in the fourth quarter. We'll be better.
All right, Coach, that's it. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Coach.